Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I thought I'd very quickly go through the Menti Code quiz. So this is the level 2 quiz that we're doing today on the 19th of May 2021. But I thought it's all well and good doing the quiz, but actually without an explanation as to why the answers are what they are, sometimes it's a little bit lacking in that area and it doesn't really help you with your revision. So I'm just going to go through the answers really quickly. I'm going to upload this after we've done the quiz and hopefully give you a bit more background behind the answers that we've got. So, the first question, the double entry to accrue for a cost. So, is that either a debit to the expense account and a credit to accruals, or a debit to accruals and credit to the expense account? Now, the answer here is a debit to the expense account and a credit to accruals, because when we're accruing for a cost, we're actually putting that cost into the income statement. So we're posting that against whatever nominal it relates to, so gas, electricity, rent, whatever it might be, and we're crediting accruals because that's a liability sat on the balance sheet. So it's where we've not yet received a cost, so we've not yet received an invoice, but we're accruing for those costs, putting those into the correct period because we're accounted for under the accrual costing method. So question 2, true or false? If a business has a May month end and electricity costs for 1k for April through to June, the accrual is £666.66. Now the answer here is false because if we've got an invoice for £1,000 between April and June, then that per month is going to be £333.33. Now, if we're accounting for that in May, then we've got 333 twice, which gives you £666.66. That's already sat in the income statement. So the accrual is for 1 month only, so it's only for June. So the accrual would actually be the £333.33 or £1,000 divided by 3 times by 1. So moving on to question 3. If the last invoice that we received for 1 month in January 21 was for £500 for gas, and our month end is February 21, how much should we accrue? So if we know that the last invoice was January 21 and we're fairly certain that we've used roughly the same amount of gas in February 21, then I would say that we would accrue for £500, not £1,000. So that's a bit of a red herring. Question 4. True or false? If a phone bill for £50 was received in March 21, but we've got nothing accounted for in April or May, the accrual should be £100. So again, if you're reasonably certain the amount that you've used in April and May is almost the same amount as what you've used in March, so you haven't excessively used your phone in April and May, then in all likelihood the amount that you're going to be charged is £50 in April and £50 in May, so you should have accrued £100 in total. Next question. True or false? If a suspense account has a debit of £400, to clear this, we will credit the suspense account. So that's true. So sometimes students get confused between a suspense account having a debit or credit balance. So at any time in a TB, a suspense account could have a debit or a credit. So it's not enough to just learn that, oh, if you've got a suspense account on the TB, then you need to credit it to clear it. That's not the case. It just depends what has been posted into that suspense account. So again, it just depends what it is. So in this case, it's true. Next question. The purpose of a suspense account is to hold transactions incorrectly related to income or expense until investigated and corrected. So that's true. It's just where an individual has incorrectly posted one side of a journal. So it might be that they've miscoded that, or it might just be that they're not sure where to put that to currently. So that's sat in the suspense account until it's been investigated. So the next question. A suspense account has a balance of £840 debit because the debtor's balance was understated by this value. So if we've got a debit balance in suspense, so we need to credit it to get rid of that £840. But if it should have gone to the debtor's control account in the first place, we then need to debit the debtor's control account. So the answer will be the first one here. Moving on. So if your manager requests that you release prepayments, what would the entries be? So to release a prepayment is almost the reversal of a prepayment. So to record a prepayment to begin with, you would debit prepayments and credit the expense account, whatever it relates to. To release that prepayment, then we would credit prepayments and debit the profit and loss item. So here this question is talking about cost prepayments. So if it was talking about income prepayments, then it would state income prepayments. So the answer there is number 2. Next, a TB has an imbalance of £125 on the credit side. due to a misbalance in the prepayments. How shall we correct this? So here we've got a credit suspense account in our TB. So we need to debit suspense account with £125 and then we need to credit prepayments with £125. So it's that second one there. Next, true or false, a VAT liability is amounts owed to HMRC. So that's true. So if we actually had a VAT asset sat on our balance sheet, then it would be a reclaim back from HMRC. So that'd be where our purchases exceed our sales on the VAT return if we had a reclaim. But where it's a VAT liability, it means that our sales exceeded our purchases, VAT. So that's why it's a liability and an amount owed to HMRC. Next question. How do we account for depreciation? So depreciation, to account for that, so to put the journal in, what we'd do is debit depreciation in the income statement, and then we would credit accumulated depreciation on the balance sheet or statement of financial position. Next question, true or false? An example of a non-current asset is office equipment. So that's true, yeah, a non-current asset could be office equipment if you're expecting to hold that for a long period of time, so more than 12 months. So the answer there is true. Which of the below is a type of depreciation method? So sum of average method or diminishing value. So there's no such thing as a sum of average method. So it's the diminishing value method. This question, true or false, to record depreciation on the balance sheet. So the statement of financial position. This is credit accumulated depreciation. So that's true. So like I mentioned before, it's debit depreciation in the income statement or statement of profit and loss and credit accumulated depreciation on the balance sheet or statement of financial position. Next question. So true or false, where a receipt has not been recorded in the cash book, the cash book is now understated. True. So if you've not recorded a receipt, it means that the balance that you've got in the cash book is under what it should be showing. So that's definitely true. True or false? If the balance of the bank is overdrawn, this should be classified as an asset. Well, that's false. So if you've got an overdrawn bank balance, then that's going to be sat under current liabilities on the statement of financial position or balance sheet. Okay, next question. So, true or false? If too much prepayment cost has been journaled, then the prepayment is overstated. So, yes, if you've put too much into prepayment, so you should have, say, put in debit prepayments £500, but you've actually put debit prepayments £1,000, then your prepayment is too much, so it's therefore overstated. So the answer here is true. Next question. If you need to release or reverse a prepayment, this will increase the cost in the income statement. So again, if you go back to the original journal of a prepayment, you're going to debit prepayments and credit whatever expense nominal that prepaid cost relates to. So if you're crediting it originally, then you're going to be reducing the amount of costs that you've got in the income statement. So if you reverse that journal, then you're going to be increasing the amount of costs in the income statement, i.e. credit prepayments, debit costs. So the answer here is going to be true. Next question. True or false? Going concern describes how a business is expected to continue in operation for the foreseeable future. That's very true. And the final question. Prepayments and accruals are a type of accrual accounting, true or false? So the answer here is true. They are in fact a type of accrual accounting as opposed to cash accounting. So I hope you found this breakdown useful. Please do consider subscribing as always, and I shall see you on the next video.